Raw side of the King of the Ring finals is complete. We await SmackDowns on Friday. Chad Gable's new attitude continues to impress or incur the wrath of people on Raw. Braun Breaker destruction happens. And are we about to see a new leader of the Judgment Day? And also, lastly, the QR codes are back on Raw as we get ever closer to the debut of Uncle Howdy. More on that and so much more on the Raw Report on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Now, we just mentioned that the King of the Ring finals are set. Well, the Raw side of the final is ready, who they will take on this week on SmackDown, which we are going live for at the end of SmackDown this week. We will see. But on the Raw side, Gunther defeated Jey Uso in a pay-per-view quality main event. And it kind of, to me now, it sets up a potential dream match for the King of the Ring with Gunther. Will be taking on the winner of Tama Tonga and Randy Orton this week on SmackDown. And they will go on to King of the Ring. Gunther and Randy Orton, I think, seems to be the logical choice for the King of the Ring final. I mean, that in itself is going to be an unbelievable match should it happen. But then it comes to wonder. They don't normally do two heels in one go. So you'd have to say, how does Tama Tonga lose the match on Friday in Saudi Arabia to Randy Orton? But more importantly than that, could you imagine Gunther against Tama Tonga? The bloodline getting involved in Gunther business? That could be really interesting, actually. But nevertheless, we can't get to the King of the Ring finals yet because the SmackDown side isn't done. But Gunther and Jey Uso had put on a great match in which Gunther won. Gunther has been my pick for King of the Ring. I had thrown in a few other bits along the way, like a potential Bloodline Civil War match we could have got again if Jey Uso was successful. But it now seems as if Gunther is now red hot favorite on the men's side to win the King of the Ring tournament. And it's going to be interesting. The women's side, and another surprise, Lyra Valkyria defeated Io Sky in a match on Raw, and she is now on the final of the King of the Ring. She's only been up from NXT for a couple of months, but Lyra Valkyria has got to the King of the Ring final. I was expecting Io Sky, Bianca Belair, that kind of finishing off the Damage Control Bianca rivalry. But looking at it, we could be looking at Lyra Valkyria against Nia Jax in the King of the Ring final. Here's another one, actually, if we add the men's into this. What if Tama Tonga wins the men's King of the Ring, Nia Jax wins the women's King of the Ring, and Nia Jax joins the Bloodline with Solo? Obviously, we've still got Fatu to come in. There's rumors that Hulaco could be also coming in. Roman Reigns should be returning soon. We've got Money in the Bank, Clash at the Castle to come. More on that, but it throws up some interesting possibilities, doesn't it, for the Saturday King of the Ring? And we'll be going live after King of the Ring as well Saturday. So live after SmackDown Friday, live after King and Queen of the Ring Saturday. It's a busy weekend for us here in Hitting the Turnbuckle. We're looking forward to that. But yeah, it does throw up some interesting possibilities here. But it could well be that Gunther wins the men's, Nia wins the women's, two heels, King and Queen of the Ring. Or could Lyra Valkyria shock the world? Or more importantly, could Bianca Belair have a match with Lyra Valkyria to set up an interesting King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring match? It is. My question to you guys, and we'll get through some questions that I asked last week as well, is has the King and Queen of the Ring got its importance back this last few weeks? You know, WWE seemed to really put a concerted effort in to the King and Queen of the Ring tournament itself, and as we say, it concludes this week. But do you think the WWE has made that a bit more prestigious than what it was, say, a few years ago? I think it has. I thoroughly enjoyed the King and Queen of the Ring qualifying rounds. I've enjoyed the tournament. But I would be interested to see if the winners of that get an opportunity at a title going forward. We have spoken about this recently. It would nicely put Gunther in an opportunity if he were to win. Tama Tonga could get Cody Rhodes, which could bring back Roman Reigns, as we've already kind of hinted before. But I think WWE have done a great job with this tournament. It has really positioned it as something of meaning this time instead of meaningless. And I just still sort of wonder whether the WWE are going in a direction of the winners get a title shot. But we'll see. We'll see after Saudi Arabia this weekend. That's for sure. The path will be a lot clearer in that. But certainly looking forward to the finals. Looking forward to the semi-finals of the SmackDown side on Friday as well to see who qualifies and who gets to the final. Some great matches, say Randy Orton, Tama Tonga, Nia Jax, Bianca Belair, just to name a few. Raw this week also, Chad Gable. We saw that, the very much new attitude style Gable. He's getting a lot of the Kurt Angle kind of "you suck" chants now as well. So he is certainly looking very much like the Kurt Angle of old. When Kurt Angle was a heel, he's going to fit in that mantra up. An interesting part of Raw, though, was the interaction with Diamond Mine. I have a sneaky suspicion that we're going to see a new version of American Alpha, perhaps, or a new version of like what Team Angle had when they had Charlie Hush, Shelton Benjamin, and Kurt Angle. We could be seeing with Chad Gable and Diamond Mine. That is an interesting one. Could they even bring in Kurt Angle to manage? I don't think Kurt's needed really in this, but it would be interesting to see what they do with that. I'm really excited by the fact that Diamond Mine and Chad Gable could be a faction in the WWE. As long as they do it right and Chad Gable isn't just forgotten about, Chad needs to get this push to the Intercontinental. I know he beat Sami Zayn on Raw in another great match. The in-ring quality on Raw has certainly beefed up a bit since WrestleMania and since the draft. And Chad Gable and Sami Zayn put on a great match. Chad did pick up the win in that and has pinned the Intercontinental Champion now, has beat the Intercontinental Champion. So perhaps the next thing would be, the next logical thing would be that Chad Gable gets an Intercontinental title rematch against Sami Zayn. Would it happen in Saudi Arabia? Who knows? It's not officially been announced, but interesting for Chad Gable and potentially Diamond Mine as well. I'm looking forward to that. Well, we need to get on to the QR code this week on Raw, and I do have my phone because it did lead you somewhere to questions being asked, and I wanted to make sure that I had them all for the podcast. But the QR code this week sent you to a list of questions, and they were very interesting questions, nevertheless. So the questions were: can you ever truly be free? Have you ever lost your way? Did you find your way back? Do you want to be better? Do you know that I'm proud of you? Is love unconditional? Have they been set free? Do you believe? Do you want to meet them? Now, if you answer the questions correctly, there then messages the word Sue. Below that are 10 clickable black boxes that lead to even more contents and clues, including a cipher that when cracked says a puppet is free as long as he loves his strings. With 3 separate audio files that when you run through the spectrogram reveal a file named ICU2 that just shows the word hello. Another named North Star that contains familiar Bray Wyatt, Wyatt 6 upside down moth logos, and another named Witness that very clearly shows Uncle Howdy's face. Now, from there, the links in the boxes only get more intriguing and bizarre and downright creepy. One goes to a newspaper article positioned adjacent to the Wendy Lucho piece, if you remember correctly. She was saying that she was missing, and I think she ended up being the psychiatric nurse or wherever it was, a doctor in the Twitch one. And it was a piece that says, study sees negative results. It refers to a cruel and evil experiment that took place in 1965 when Jose Lores and Antoine Seni set a new record for the time spent alone in a cave. The text of a story that includes such lines as, I saved them, give me a little more time, and I must give them the opportunity to reprint. I hope for their sake they do. It also features an image that appears to relate to Plato's famous allegory of a cave. It's a long one, this. Elsewhere, a sheet of notepaper with liar, liar scratched out in red and black marker contains the words WhatsApp 522, which is today, scrawled in the corner, likely suggesting another clue dropping today at time of recording. There's also a quick video that shows a veiled visage of a mysterious female figure. Source that can code that contains an anchor linked to the word door within a H1 tag, a piece of paper with a glyph of Pluto all over it, that the coordinates, which is points to Glassboro, New Jersey, which so happens to be the location of Rowan University. So there's a sub-reference there. And a piece of paper with Wendy Lucio written on it, along with a couple of other bits as well. A letter with an anagram on there. So lots to siphon filter out of that. There was also a bit on Raw where I can't remember. I think maybe someone was cutting a promo, and it sort of they do that really far back camera pan of the whole arena, and it looked like somebody was sitting in a rocking chair a bit further away. I'd have to try and get a picture of that for you, but some more interesting stuff with Uncle Howdy. This is really good. But my question to it, and my question to you guys is the hype going to be better than the reveal of Uncle Howdy? That's going to be the interesting one. Is the hype going to be better than the reveal? I'll leave you guys to give me your thoughts on that going forward. I'm looking forward to it. You know, I'm hopeful that Uncle Howdy is going to be a great reveal. I'm hopeful afterwards there's going to be some good stuff going on. Who are they going to target? Who's going to join? It's still up in the air. You know, a few are near enough guaranteed. But then, you know, and I was thinking about this the other day. Do you remember a couple of months ago on Raw when Nikki Cross was just staring into space and just sort of having that look on her that she was like in a transformed state? Well, it all now fast forwards to this, and Nikki Cross is meant to be one of the Wyatt Six, or Uncle Howdy's group, whatever you want to call her. So it's interesting how they've gone all the way back. They could potentially go all the way back to that as well. And it really creates an intriguing possibilities here. And things that go way back, and hopefully the story will piece itself together. But again, like when Bray Wyatt come back last time, it has been so well done that I think that, you know, you just hope, like I've just said, that the hype doesn't ultimately ruin the reveal of the Wyatt Six. We'll wait and see. Could it be as early as this week at King of the Ring? We'll have to wait and see. And you know what? Now I've got a feeling, could they cost Randy Orton the King of the Ring? Because if you remember, Randy Orton was the one that burnt down that house where him and Bray Wyatt was having that match in way back, you know, in the pandemic era of wrestling. So is there a bit of that? Could they come and stop Randy Orton from winning King of the Ring? So much Uncle Howdy stuff going on. I love it. I love all this sort of stuff. It really makes it intriguing. And you kind of sometimes just want to watch Raw and SmackDown and then even NXT just for the QR codes that are happening in it. And it's been brilliant again. But yeah, is the hype going to be better than the reveal of Uncle Howdy? We'll wait and see. Braun Breaker made his kind of debut or somewhat debut on Raw, absolutely annihilating Cal Dixon. And he just literally, he annihilates him in the match. He then gets the concerto and delivers that. He's literally, Dixon gets put into an ambulance, and Breaker was like, Pierce can't control him, and this was all because Pierce Morgan, fucking Pierce Morgan, Jesus Christ, Adam Pierce didn't put Braun Breaker inside King of the Ring. I don't know where they're going with this, but I'm liking the fact that Braun Breaker's come up like a machine. He's just kicking the crap out of everyone. But again, that poses the question about where does he sit in where does the first feud come really with Braun Breaker? Where does it become? Where is that first feud going to be? And I'm really interested about it, and I want to see what happens on this with Braun Breaker. I'm very intrigued about Who could he be going for? Where is he going to pitch it? I mean, he is world championship material. There's no doubt about that. I don't think they're at that stage where they're going to strap the rocket to him so early. I always believe in a patient build, especially with the younger guys, because otherwise, they go stale very quickly. And you could be in a situation where, in a couple of years' time, you're actually resenting him for being that good because he's been on top so long. So, hopefully, with Braun Breaker, they're very much taking their time, but this is a good way to start it. I'm just thinking, who does he go through first? And you got to think realistically here. Like, if you're going to be on an upward trajectory, you don't want him going straight after a Jey Uso or a Sami Zayn for that matter, because that could just peak it too high too soon. If they're gonna take the slow build, I don't even know, maybe Otis or I don't know, R-Truth or Miz, someone along those lines. Miz is always a good hand at getting people over. So yeah, I just wonder who and why or who and when the first Braun Breaker feud will happen and who it will be against. But yeah, I think the idea with this is sometimes it's slow build. Um, with a better payoff than a big, quick, straight away Intercontinental Championship, and then you just go into the Odyssey like a lot of people have on WWE. So let's see what they do with it. But again, a very good start, and I like the presentation of Braun Breaker. I'm hoping though that they don't call him Badass Braun Breaker. He's got Badass written on his jeans. It's Big Bronson Reed and Dirty Dominic Mysterio and all that sort of stuff. Just keep it as Braun Breaker. He doesn't need to be Badass Braun Breaker. I hope not anyway, but we will see. Now, at the start of the show, I did hint a member of or a new leader of the Judgment down, and I'm not talking about kicking out Damian Priest. As we said last week, though, the question was Damian Priest's promo? Does it look like a face turn is coming? 97 of you said yes. It does look like a face turn's coming. But eagle-eyed viewers like me and some others on Raw pointed out that when Finn Balor, there was a black car that pulled up at the start of Raw. Liv Morgan seemed to get out on one side. Finn Balor seemed to be getting out of the other. Now we know the last couple of weeks there have had a bit of Finn Balor. You've seen it in the background. Liv Morgan was been sniffing around Dominic Mysterio, and she had the pictures done on Raw, and there was a purple bandana in her pocket and bits and pieces like that. Now, we all know that Liv Morgan's on her revenge tour and she's going to get a shot at Becky Lynch at Queen of the Ring. There was a great promo between her and Becky on Raw as well, in which Liv Morgan, did a good thing to quieten down the whats from the crowd. She said, what? You can't hear me. It's because you've got your head so far up Becky's ass, which was really, really good. And yeah, this version of Liv, I like. We had this conversation a year and a half or so ago when we was on myself, Andy, and Parker, and I was saying Liv Morgan has improved, but she's not quite at championship level. That was my opinion. Parker disagreed and thought she was actually good and doing well, and that that was a very good analogy that Parker gave as well. I think now it's perfect for Liv Morgan to become women's champion. And we all know that Becky was only kind of there because there was an injury to Rhea Ripley. She had to take the title off Rhea Ripley. And it looks like Liv Morgan is kind of playing this revenge tour and going after everybody that hurt her. And it looks as though she's targeting Rhea Ripley, but from within the Judgment Day. She was with Finn. She's been with Damien. Is there now going to be a bit where she's with JD McDonough? Now, this week on Raw, the Judgment Day did lose a tag match. Carlito's interference didn't work. They didn't win the tag team championships from the Miz and Truth. And I just got to start wondering how long before we find out this plan of Liv Morgan. I think she wins the title at the King and Queen of the Ring pay-per-view, and I think she holds it for quite a bit of time, perhaps until Rhea Ripley is ready. And it could be the Judgment Day turns on Rhea Ripley and puts Liv in, or or before that, it could be that the Judgment Day were aligning with Liv and then change their mind and align with Rhea once the match comes. You've seen it a few times before. But it's very interesting how they're dropping these really good with the WWE dropping these really good little bits, and you've got to be watching now all around. So sometimes when an interview's going on, it's not what's going on in front of you that you need to keep your eye on. It's what's going on around the interview place and around the building, where every time they pan out to the back or pan outside, just keep an eye out for little hints. They've done this. They was doing this quite a bit actually earlier on. I think it might have been earlier on in the year. I can't quite remember, but they was doing it quite a bit. So you've got to keep your eyes out on it. And I think it's, a fantastic thing that they're doing. But Liv Morgan potentially on the Judgment Day. Braun Strowman did come out and assist the Miz and R-Truth. There's no doubt about that because there was a lot of interference going on. But nevertheless, Liv Morgan potentially replacing Rhea Ripley in the Judgment Day. Very, very interesting. But you've got to check out the Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan segment with the promos. It was really, really good. It's got inside the head of Becky, I think, here as well. Liv Morgan, I still definitely think is going to be a champion come the end of Queen of the Ring, and she's certainly improving. And I think this heel character of hers, although she's still getting a half decent response, the heel character of hers is really, really working. And Liv Morgan is definitely up there now and ready for the Women's Championship on Raw. Now, if you remember last week, Kofi Kingston was out the back after a defeat, and Gunther come over to him and said, you can, come and, not necessarily, not Gunther, Karrion Kross says, he's, there's always time to turn things around. And this week, Xavier Woods wasn't medically cleared to compete. So he was cleared to compete. And Karrion Kross came in and said he was happy and he learned, he wanted to lend his support to Woods. He's been going through a rough patch. And that there's always time to turn things around for him as well. And that's interesting because, you think to yourself, are they trying to turn the New Day, or are they trying to turn the New Day against each other? Is that something that's going to happen there? Karrion Kross trying to get more people into the group. What's going to happen to the Authors of Pain if he recruits the New Day? Is it quite simply just to set up a feud between the New Day and AOP? Interesting one for sure. But again, there's some really good little nuggets going on in between the action on Raw. There is some really good bits of stories going on in the background. And this is what we try and say about how it should be a great production in ring, but you should have these little storylines filtering off in the back. And the WWE are doing a great job of that at the minute with this. And it's what making for more watchable TV. I think I've not watched as many episodes of Raw for the full 3 hours as I have done this last year or so in years. It has been so refreshing to watch, and I'm really, really enjoying. Actually, I'm enjoying all of Raw now. Where you used to see some bits, you used to think, fuck this, I'm gonna, DVR it. Of course, I'm watching it at 1 o'clock in the morning over here when we've got work. But I only fast forward the breaks now because I want to get back to Raw to watch it. And it's really, really refreshing, and it's great to be that. It's great to be a fan now and get to see that. So I'm really looking forward to. I really look forward to Raw every week at the moment. It's really good, and those little nuggets, those little stories within stories, and these little bits on the side that you've got to remember. It's really good, and it does help for a good review as well. Another return on Raw was that of Sonya Deville. Now, Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler won a championship match to go against the tag team champions at a future date. They did win I think it was a fatal four-way tag team match or something along those. It was Casey, Katan Chance, Caden Carr versus the Kabuki Warriors versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Dupree and fatal four-way Dupree, Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile, and they did go on and win a match. Another good women's tag match as well, by the way. And yeah, we saw Sonya Deville there on Raw, and she wanted to talk to the she wanted to talk to the winners, Baszler and Stark. I don't really think they were that interested. But where is Sonya Deville? What is she trying to do? What is her end goal since coming back? It's always good to see Sonya back after such a serious injury as well. She had that hellacious few years with the Stalker as well, real life Stalker, as well as that. Great to see her back. And again, another interesting piece of the story developing there? What does she want with Zoe and Shayna? I mean, we know that Shayna and Sonya Deville has that mixed martial arts background. We know Zoe Stark's a fucking hard hitting. So are they looking to form something together there as well? But Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler do get a future women's tag team match. So that is going to be really, really interesting. So looking forward to seeing where that one leads as well. McIntyre did do a promo as well. He does want the world championship. I still think that's going against Damian Priest at Clash at the Castle, I would expect anyway. That's for sure. Will that happen? Will Punk get involved? What's going to happen with all of that? It's a very interesting time right now because, like I've already said, you've got so many stories in the middle of stories in the middle of stories, and then obviously on top of that, you've got Uncle Howdy in the background with all these mysterious QR codes. It's really such a great time to be watching WWE again, and they've gone through many years of trying to get through Raw, and you watch Raw in about 90 minutes or an hour because it was so crap. But now it's like you're watching it every week. They've got so much stuff going on. The King of the Ring has been great, with that, and you've still got the bloodline going on, and that's now reformed into another bloodline. And I still think like Cody and Damian Priest have been forgotten about, really, in a lot of ways as champions because there's so much other great stuff going around. And I'm gonna say it's good to see that you don't forget about your champion, obviously. Damian Priest has not even got a title match this week, a clash, King of the and Queen of the Ring, which is pretty sad, really. I mean, there's only the finals and Cody and Logan Paul, which is now only for one title. So it'd be interesting to see what other matches they add. It still should be a good pay-per-view, though. But yeah, that was a really good episode of Raw this week. Looking forward to going live after Smack. I do love these. This is what I love about these things now with the WWE going globally to do shows. Go live on a SmackDown after Friday. We go live after King and Queen of the Ring. We can't do that for obviously, the Canada shows because Canada's pretty much over there. But we can do it again for Bash at the Clash at the Castle 2. We can do it again for Bash at Berlin. It's really good time for us to be coming live with the podcast as well. So we're really looking forward to that. But guys, this has been another great episode of the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on the Raw review. So much more stuff coming up. NWA coming up as well. TNA, we got some interviews that are dropping soon. Big thanks to Harry McDonald, by the way, for stopping by this past week. But we've got some more interviews. Can't wait to announce who. Not too long now. Some more have just come back through about potentially setting up some dates and times. So we're looking forward to all of that. Progress Wrestling this weekend. We've got a hellacious weekend. We've got 2 pay-per-views. I've got 2 days worth of Progress Wrestling to attend to as well. It is gonna be so good. I can't wait to share all of the experiences with you, especially from this weekend at Super Strong Style 16. I will review Progress Wrestling Super Strong Style 16 on Tuesday. It's going to be a long one because it's a 2-day event. Shelton Benjamin's going to be there. Mike Santana's going to be there. Some 4-way women's ladder match or 3-way something like women's ladder match for the Progress Women's Champion. So much stuff going on. Keep it looked on the Hitting the Turnbuckle channels. And until tomorrow when we're back for NWA Power, buckle down. Stay safe.